You've been trying to explain it to yourself in a way that sounds reasonable, but the truth is simpler than your mind wants to admit. Something in you recognizes them. Not the way people recognize a type, not the way attraction recognizes a face, but the way your spirit recognizes familiarity. That's why your heart keeps pulling you back, even when you tell yourself, this doesn't fit the usual. Because the pull isn't coming from your eyes. It's coming from alignment. And if that alignment includes an age difference, people will try to reduce the whole story to one detail. As if one detail can explain a whole person. Angels say, they match your spirit, not your age. That's why your heart keeps pulling you. And if you want more marriage-minded motivation and future spouse clarity that keeps you grounded, hit subscribe now, because what we build here is for people who are done letting noise, shame, and opinions control their decisions. Now breathe, because the first thing you need to understand is this. Human beings love labels. Labels make people feel safe. Labels help people judge quickly without the work of discernment. Too young, too old, not your level. Different background, different culture, different timeline. Labels are shortcuts. But heaven doesn't lead by shortcuts. Heaven leads by fruit. And fruit takes time to observe. That's why people who only live on the surface will always misunderstand a connection that is rooted deeper than the surface. They will stare at the age, but God will study the character. They will count years, but God will weigh patterns. They will judge the packaging, but God will inspect the substance. Because if you're honest, what keeps drawing you isn't just beauty or charm. It's the way they respond when life gets real. It's the steadiness in their voice. It's the humility in the way they listen. It's the quiet maturity that shows up in their actions, not just in their words. It's the way you don't feel like you have to perform to be accepted. It's the way you can breathe around them. And for someone who has lived through emotional stress in love before, breathing is not a small thing. Breathing is a sign of safety. That's why I need to say something that will change the way you see this. Sometimes your heart keeps pulling because your spirit is finally choosing differently. Some of you used to choose from chemistry alone, and it kept you in cycles. You chose what was intense, and it turned into instability. You chose what was dramatic, and it turned into exhaustion. You chose what made sense to people, and it still broke you privately. So God begins to heal your chooser. He begins to rewire your instincts. He begins to teach you that peace is not boring, it's rare. And when your spirit starts craving what is healthy, you will feel drawn to people who carry steadiness, even if the crowd doesn't understand the pairing. But let's be responsible, because my spirit is pulled is not a license to ignore wisdom. A spiritual pull can be real, and it can also be confused by trauma. That's why discernment matters. You are not here to be hypnotized by feelings. You are here to build with wisdom. So we're going to separate two things that often get mixed. A pull that matures your spirit, and a hook that catches your wounds. A hook makes you anxious. It makes you restless. It makes you check your phone too much. It makes your mood rise and fall with their attention. It makes you compromise quickly. It makes you afraid to be honest. It makes you tolerate mixed signals because you're afraid to lose them. A hook doesn't build you, it binds you. A pull that matches your spirit does the opposite over time. It calms you. It makes you clearer. It makes you more honest, not more hidden. It makes you more disciplined, not more impulsive. It makes you want to do things right. It makes you value maturity. It makes you protect your peace. It doesn't turn you into someone desperate. It turns you into someone intentional. That's why the question is never, do I feel pulled? The question is, what kind of person am I becoming while I'm pulled? And here's where the age conversation becomes a distraction. People treat age like it automatically equals maturity, and that's simply not true. You can be older and still emotionally childish. You can be older and still irresponsible. You can be older and still inconsistent, dishonest, and unstable. And you can be younger and have discipline, self-control, responsibility, and clarity. So when angels say they match your spirit, not your age, it means your heart is responding to their inner posture, not their number. Your spirit is reacting to the way they carry themselves, the way they handle reality, the way they show up with integrity, the way they respect your boundaries, the way they communicate, the way they handle correction, the way they hold themselves accountable. Now let's talk about why this makes people uncomfortable. People get uncomfortable when your story doesn't follow the formula they trust. Because formulas protect them from thinking. Formulas protect them from observing. Formulas help them feel in control. So when you bring them a story that doesn't match their formula, they don't know how to process it. And instead of processing, they judge. They call it wrong. They call it risky. They call it foolish. They call it a mistake waiting to happen. But most of the time, they're not reacting to your relationship. They're reacting to their fear. Some are reacting to their own regrets. They chose someone who looked right, and now they're stuck in pain. Some are reacting to their own disappointments. They gave their best to someone who didn't value it, and now they assume your story will end the same. Some are reacting to control. They liked when they could predict your choices. They liked when you needed their approval. They liked when your decisions stayed inside the box. And now your heart is moving with a freedom they can't manage. So you must decide early. Will you obey noise, or will you obey fruit? Because noise is loud, but noise is not evidence. Fruit is quiet at first, but fruit is truth. And since this is marriage-minded, let's bring it to the standard that matters. A future spouse is not proven by a strong pull. A future spouse is proven by the ability to build. So if you're going to honor the pull, you must test it with maturity, not with games. Not with jealousy tests, not with silence, not with let me see if they chase me. That's childish. That's insecurity. Wearing makeup. Mature testing looks like conversations and consistency. Mature testing looks like boundaries and behavior. Mature testing looks like watching patterns over time. Here's what that means in real life. If they match your spirit, their behavior will match your words. They won't punish you for being wise. They won't mock your standards. They won't pressure you to move faster than your peace. They won't get offended when you ask real questions. They won't become cruel when you disagree. They won't disappear when responsibility shows up. Because marriage is responsibility. And spouse-level people don't run from responsibility. Now, let's address the reason your heart keeps pulling even when you try to turn it off. Sometimes the pull is the result of your prayers being answered in a form you didn't expect. You asked God for consistency. You asked for someone serious. You asked for someone who communicates. You asked for someone who honors you. You asked for someone who doesn't play games. And then God sends it, but your mind gets stuck on what the crowd will say about the age detail. That's why you're wrestling. Not because you don't know what you feel. Because you're trying to make your blessing socially acceptable before you receive it. But blessings are not always socially acceptable at first. They become respected after they endure. People don't respect seeds. They respect harvest. People don't clap for beginnings. They clap for results. And if you keep needing applause in the beginning, you'll destroy what requires quiet building. That's why your first protection is privacy without shame. Not secrecy that breeds dishonesty, privacy that breeds stability. You don't need to invite everybody into your process. You don't need to narrate your relationship to people who can't handle it, because some people don't ask questions to support you. They ask questions to collect information. They want something to discuss. They want a story. They want to feel involved. And then they take your private life to a table you've never sat at. So you learn this skill. Selective access. Who gets details? Only those who carry wisdom, not those who carry gossip. Now, I want to talk to the part of you that feels guilty for being pulled. Because sometimes people make you feel like you should be ashamed, like you should know better, like you're doing something silly. But what if the pull isn't immaturity? What if it's discernment waking up? What if it's your spirit finally craving what is stable? What if it's God moving you away from your old pattern? Some of you used to chase what didn't choose. You used to accept what didn't honor you. You used to tolerate what didn't protect you. And now your heart is pulling toward someone who actually shows up. Your spirit doesn't want chaos anymore. Your spirit wants peace. And that desire is not weakness, it's growth. However, you still have to protect yourself from one thing: letting the age gap become a power gap. Because that's where relationships get dangerous. Power gaps look like one person controlling the money, controlling the pace, controlling communication, controlling access, controlling decisions. Power gaps look like one person always teaching, always correcting, always parenting, always carrying, while the other remains dependent. That is not partnership. That is imbalance. Covenant needs balance. So if there's any gap in your story age, status, finances, experience, the question is, does it create mutual respect or mutual dependency? Because the goal is not to be needed. The goal is to be honored. So how do you tell whether this is spirit match or just a season of fascination? Watch these markers, because they don't lie long term. One marker is consistency. Not consistent charm, consistent behavior. Do they show up on regular days, not just emotional days? Do they communicate even when they're busy? Do they follow through even when it costs them? A spouse-level person is predictable in the best way, not boring, reliable. Another marker is accountability. Can they admit fault without turning it into a fight? Can they apologize without excuses? Can they correct themselves without being forced? Accountability is maturity. Another marker is boundaries. When you say not yet, do they respect it or pressure it? When you say I need clarity, do they engage or avoid? When you slow down, do they stay steady or punish you? Pressure is a warning. Respect is fruit. Another marker is responsibility. Do they have structure? Do they handle their obligations? Do they take ownership of their life? Do they have goals beyond romance? Because marriage requires two people who can manage life, not just emotions. Another marker is honor. Do they protect your dignity publicly and privately? Do they speak well of you? Do they avoid situations that disrespect the relationship? Do they treat your name like something valuable? Honor is a covenant language, and here's a marker many people ignore: emotional regulation. When things don't go their way, do they become cruel? Do they withdraw to punish? Do they explode? Do they manipulate? Or can they handle disappointment with maturity? A person's ability to regulate emotions is one of the strongest predictors of a peaceful home. Now, if you notice these fruits are present, the pull you feel is not something to fear. It's something to steward. Because when someone matches your spirit, they don't just make you feel chosen, they make you feel safe enough to choose with clarity. And that brings us to a mature truth. Sometimes the pull increases because your spirit is tired of your own inconsistency. Some of you have been 1 foot in and 1 foot out of love for years. You've been guarding yourself, telling yourself you're fine, pretending you don't want commitment, acting like you don't care. But deep down you do. You want marriage, you want partnership, you want a home that feels safe, you want a spouse who shows up. And when someone comes close to that, your spirit pulls because your spirit is ready. Your fear may still be loud, but your spirit is ready. And fear will always try to disguise itself as wisdom. Fear will say, wait forever. Fear will say, don't try. Fear will say, don't risk it. Fear will say, it's safer to be alone. But fear is not wisdom. Wisdom is balanced. Wisdom evaluates fruit and proceeds with clarity. So what do you do with this pull right now? You don't worship it. You don't run from it. You build a process around it. You create structure so your feelings don't become your boss. That structure begins with mature conversations. You don't keep things in the fantasy stage. You talk about direction. You talk about values. You talk about faith. You talk about money, habits. You talk about family involvement and boundaries. You talk about the meaning of commitment. You talk about timelines when the relationship becomes serious. Not as pressure, but as protection. Clarity is not control. Clarity is care. Clarity is kindness. Clarity keeps you from wasting time and building attachment without alignment. And as those conversations happen, you watch responses, not just answers. Some people say the right thing but can't live it. So you watch. Do they become defensive when you ask real questions? Do they try to make you feel guilty for wanting clarity? Do they call your standards too much? Or do they respect you more because you're serious? Because spouse level. People don't fear serious conversations, they appreciate them. They want to build, not just feel. Now, let's address the audience pressure that tries to get in your head. What if I look foolish? This is where you must separate your future from your pride. Pride cares about appearances. Purpose cares about foundations. Pride would rather leave something good than be judged. Purpose would rather build something true than be applauded. Pride wants to be admired. Purpose wants to be safe. And if you're honest, a lot of what people call wisdom is just pride disguised as caution. They're not always trying to protect your future, they're trying to protect your image. But your image won't hold you at night. Your image won't build a home. Your image won't raise children. Your image won't heal your heart. peace will. So here's a mindset you adopt. I will not sacrifice peace to protect pride. I will not abandon fruit to satisfy opinions. I will not shrink my joy to make insecure people comfortable. But again, we stay mature. You also don't ignore warning signs because you want the story. You keep your eyes open. You keep your standards firm. You keep boundaries clear. You keep your pace wise. You watch actions. You choose truth over fantasy, because what matches your spirit will not require you to lose yourself. It won't require you to betray your values. It won't require you to live in confusion. A spirit match becomes clearer with time, not more chaotic. And if you're the older person in the connection, here is a protective word for you. Don't let fear make you overfunction. Don't start carrying everything to prove you're worthy. Don't buy love. Don't rescue love. Don't parent. Love, partnership is the goal. If they match your spirit, they will contribute. They will build. They will take responsibility. They will not come as a dependent, they will come as a teammate. And if you're the younger person listening, serious about someone older, here is a word for you. Don't just be passionate, be consistent. Don't just promise Prue with patterns. Don't just speak, big live steady. Respect their boundaries. Respect their pace. Respect their reputation. Bring responsibility. Bring emotional maturity. Bring clarity. Because maturity is what makes age irrelevant. Now, there is another reason your heart keeps pulling that many people overlook. Your spirit recognizes purpose alignment. Sometimes the pull is not just romantic. Sometimes it's the feeling that you can build with this person. You can pray with them. You can grow with them. You can learn with them. You can face life with them. It's not just I like them. It's I can breathe with them. It's I can be myself with them. It's I can build a home with them. And when you feel that, your heart doesn't easily let go, because your spirit is recognizing something your mind hasn't fully put into words. So don't rush to silence the pull. Don't rush to label it as weakness. Don't rush to throw it away because it's inconvenient. Instead, treat it like a signal and bring wisdom to it. Observe, communicate, set standards, protect privacy. Watch fruit, pray for clarity. Because the right connection doesn't just pull you, it strengthens you. And I want you to hold one more truth tightly. The pull becomes dangerous only when you ignore your own standards. The pull becomes safe when it is guided by maturity. The pull becomes covenant when both people carry honor, responsibility, and intentionality. So the goal is not to follow your heart blindly. The goal is to let your heart be guided by truth. So here's what you do next, quietly, without announcing it to everyone. You tighten your boundaries, you deepen your discernment, and you start measuring with fruit. You stop letting outside opinions flood your mind. You stop shrinking your joy. You stop performing. You build slowly. You communicate clearly. You watch consistency. You watch how they treat your no. You watch how they handle pressure. You watch how they show up when it's not convenient. Because this is where the truth always reveals itself. Not on the best day, but on the ordinary day. And as you do this, something powerful happens inside you. The pull stops feeling confusing and starts feeling clear. Because clarity isn't a lightning moment. It's a pattern you recognize over time. And when clarity grows, fear loses power. When clarity grows, the crowd gets quieter in your mind. When clarity grows, you stop asking, will people approve? And you start asking, can we build a peaceful home? Because that's the whole point. Not a love story people clap for. A life you can live in peace. Your heart keeps pulling because something in you is trying to protect your future, not just feed your feelings. And that's the part many people misunderstand. They think a pull automatically means you're being irrational or emotional. But sometimes the pull is your spirit saying, this is safe, after years of being trained to survive love instead of enjoy it. Still, you don't build a marriage on a pull alone. You build it on fruit. So in this section, we're going to turn that pull into wisdom, into clear steps that keep you grounded, protected, and intentional, without rushing, without hiding in shame, and without letting outsiders steer your decisions. Because the truth is, the pull is not the problem. The pressure is. The opinions are. The overexposure is. The constant commentary is. And if you don't manage that, you'll start reacting in ways that damage the very connection you're trying to understand. So here's the first thing you need to know. A spirit match will always be tested at the level of maturity, not by drama, not by gossip, not by proving something to people. It will be tested by real life, by waiting, by boundaries, by communication, by responsibility, by patience, by the ability to stay consistent when the excitement settles. And this is where many people lose it, because the moment outside voices get loud, they start doing one of two things. They either rush forward to prove everybody wrong, or they retreat to avoid being judged. Both are fear responses. Neither is wisdom. Wisdom stays steady. Wisdom doesn't speed up to silence people. Wisdom doesn't shut down to protect pride. Wisdom builds quietly and lets fruit speak. Now, let's address the age conversation directly. Because your title is clear. They match your spirit, not your age. That means your spirit is responding to character, not a number. But for the relationship to survive and grow, you must make sure spirit match becomes life match. That is the difference between a powerful connection and a lasting covenant. Spirit match without life match becomes frustration. Life match without spirit match becomes dry. A strong marriage needs both. So what is life match? Life match is where two people are aligned enough in direction, values, and responsibilities that building a home is realistic, not just romantic. That means you talk about real things early, calmly, and clearly. How do we handle money? What does commitment mean to you? What are our boundaries with friends and exes? How do we handle family involvement? What's our faith and value alignment? How do we argue and repair? What are our timelines when it comes to marriage? Do we want children? And what would parenting look like? What does leadership look like in our home? How do we handle seasons of pressure and stress? And I need you to hear this. Those conversations are not too serious. Those conversations are not ruining the vibe. Those conversations are the vibe for people who want marriage. Clarity is not pressure. Clarity is protection. Now, if the person truly matches your spirit, they won't be offended by clarity. They might be nervous, yes, but they won't be evasive. They won't punish you. They won't manipulate you. They'll engage. Because spouse-level people don't. fear responsibility, they prepare for it. And this is one of the biggest fruits you must watch. How they respond to accountability. When you say, I need us to move wisely, do they respect it or resist it? When you say, I'm not comfortable with that, do they honor it or pressure you? When you ask, where's this going? Do they bring clarity or hide behind? Confusion. When you correct something gently, do they learn or lash out? When the relationship hits a hard moment, do they repair or run? Because anyone can be charming on easy days. Covenant is proven on ordinary days and difficult days. Now let's talk about the second big threat to spirit match. Outside noise. A lot of you are being pulled toward someone, but you're also being pulled by people's opinions. And that creates emotional tug of war. You feel peace with them, but tension around them. You feel safe with them, but judged about them. And without noticing, you start changing how you behave. You start acting colder. You stop being affectionate. You get suspicious. You start testing them. Or you start hiding your connection and then you feel guilty. The problem isn't always the relationship. The problem is the environment you keep exposing it to. So here's a mature rule. Not everyone gets access to your process. Privacy is not dishonesty. Privacy is wisdom. There are people who ask questions because they love you, and there are people who ask questions because they want information. Information becomes gossip. Gossip becomes pressure. Pressure becomes confusion. Confusion becomes sabotage. So you protect your heart by choosing. Who gets details? You don't announce every step. You don't explain every feeling. You don't give updates to people who have a history of negativity. You don't let bitter voices shape your decisions. You seek counsel from mature people who value fruit. And if you're thinking, but I don't want to hide, you're right. Don't hide in shame. Build in privacy. There's a difference. Shame says, this is wrong, I must conceal it. Privacy says, this is valuable, I will protect it while it grows. Now, let's address another thing that sabotages spirit match: comparison. Comparison will make you doubt something good because it doesn't look like other people's. Story. You compare ages. You compare timelines. You compare how it appears. You compare your partner to someone else's partner, and comparison drains gratitude. It turns blessing into burden. You start noticing what the relationship isn't instead of honoring what it is. And once gratitude dies, peace starts dying too. So you discipline your mind. Stop measuring your story by someone else's script. Your love story is not a group project. Your marriage will be carried by character, not by applause. Now, I want to talk about the deeper reason your heart keeps pulling. Because some of you are not just pulled by love, you're pulled by healing. Healthy love will trigger your wounds at first, not because it's toxic, but because it's unfamiliar. Your nervous system may be used to inconsistency, so consistency feels suspicious. Your mind may be used to mix signals, so clarity feels too easy. Your heart may be used to chasing, so being chosen feels strange. And that's when people self-sabotage. They create drama to feel familiar. They pick fights to test. Loyalty. They withdraw to see if the person will chase. That's not discernment. That's unhealed fear. So here's the discipline. Don't punish a healthy person for what a toxic person did to you. If they match your spirit, let them meet your healed self, not your defensive self. And if your healed self is still forming, be honest about that. Tell the truth about your triggers without making them responsible for your healing. Say, sometimes, I overthink because of my past, but I'm working on it. I want to build in a healthy way. That honesty creates safety. Safety creates stability. Stability creates trust. Now, let's talk about the age gap fear specifically, because it's real. What if we want different things? What if our timelines don't match? What if I'm ready now and they're not? What if people were right? Those questions aren't wrong. They're wise. But the answer isn't panic. The answer is conversation and observation. Ask direct questions. Watch direct answers. But more importantly, watch behavior after the answers. Someone can say, I'm serious, but their life shows disorder. Someone can say, I want marriage, but they avoid responsibility. Someone can say, I'm committed, but they keep options open. So you watch for alignment between words and actions. That is where truth lives. Now here's another protective piece for the older partner. Don't let fear make you overfunction. Overfunctioning looks like carrying everything: money, planning, emotional labor because you're afraid you'll be abandoned. But carrying an adult is not romance. It's future resentment. A spirit match should still be a partnership. So you require contribution. You require consistency. You require responsibility. You require initiative. And you don't feel guilty for it. Because standards are not cruelty. Standards are protection. And for the younger partner who is serious, your stability will always speak louder than their assumptions. Be consistent. Be disciplined. Be accountable. Honor boundaries. Communicate clearly. Show responsibility in your life. Show that you are not a moment you or a builder. Now, let's talk about the final question that will settle you. How? Do I know this pool is safe to follow? You know it's safe when peace increases over time, clarity increases over time, respect stays consistent, boundaries are honored, effort is mutual, communication improves, accountability is present. You feel more grounded, not more unstable. You feel more yourself, not less yourself. You're being built, not drained. And you know it's unsafe when anxiety increases over time. Confusion multiplies. Boundaries are pressured. Effort is one-sided. You feel like you're chasing. You're hiding because of shame. You're constantly guessing. You're shrinking to keep them. You're losing your values. Fruit doesn't lie. So yes, your heart keeps pulling because something is matching your spirit. But don't leave it at mystery. Bring it into maturity. Bring it into clarity. Bring it into structure. Protect it from noise. Protect it from comparison. Protect it from your own fear. And then let time do its job, revealing what is real. And if this message gave you clarity, stay connected. Subscribe for more marriage-minded motivation and future spouse preparation that keeps you grounded, not confused. Like this so it reaches someone who's being judged for an unconventional connection, and comment one line: I choose fruit over noise. Not because a comment is magic, but because making the decision out loud strengthens your spine when pressure returns.